Today let's talk about how to plant in a shady garden. So this is my north side of the garden, which is most of the time shade. What I have in here is let's start with structural plants. I have Choicea ternata, and this is an evergreen, and that's an evergreen Camelia. Look at it, it's blooming and it's beautiful and it will thrive in that corner, very shady corner. And here is. When you look at this corner, I have 3 evergreen plants which will look beautiful all the time, winter, summer, anytime. So I love, this is spring blooming. The Choicea ternata blooms in spring, and I love the fragrance of the flowers. And these are the 3 evergreens. Let's talk only about evergreen structural plants in the garden. So what do structural plants mean? Structural plant, it can have different meanings, but if at all you have a choice, like if you have a clean palette in your garden, which means there is nothing in the garden, start always with evergreen plants. In this area, in this small area, what I have is like 5 Choicea ternata, 3 Pieris, and just 1 Camelia. That is my structural plants in this garden. All of them are evergreen and it will stay in the garden all season long, and that gives a structure to the garden. And in between I have other plants like hydrangea, which is not structural plant, it's like an ornamental plant. It dies, it is deciduous, it loses its leaves in winter, fall, and it will stay a stump in winter, and in summer it blooms beautiful flowers. But the structural plants will stay in the garden evergreen. That is very important for any garden. Start with structural plants. So I'm staying under Japanese maple, and as you can see, this is a very shady area of my garden too. Under the maple you can see Choicea ternata again, and it's an evergreen. I love this plant. It blooms in spring. And I have few other perennials under the garden, under the tree in this area, which blooms in spring, like Bergenia. And this side of the path, I have Pieris, and it loves shade and it thrives in shade, and it have beautiful flowers in early spring. And once the flowers are gone, this nice bronzy kind of leaves, very beautiful tender bronzy kind of leaves appear, and it looks really beautiful. And this azalea is another shade lover, another structural plant, evergreen, and it flowers, and it's just done blooming. And what I need to show you is, when it is done blooming, I need to deadhead it. See, this is what you do. This is what you mean by deadheading. I just take out the pinch all the buds out, the dead flowers out. And you don't need to prune azalea. I have to come back and deadhead that azalea. And this is a semi-evergreen, but it's a beautiful fern. I love this fern. It's called tassel fern. This is one of my favorite shade garden ferns. On this side of the path, I have again Pieris, and I have a rhododendron back there, and a Choicea right here. And I'm staying again under shade, under this beautiful pink dogwood. 8 years ago, this was nothing but grass, lawn. I did not know how to take care of it. We did not mow the lawn on time. The lawn was covered in weed and moss because I had shade here. So after going to the horticulture program, I learned that you don't really need grass in your front garden. You can have plants, ornamental and flowering and fruiting, which right now I have. So what I did is I reduced the size of my lawn in half and made a patio here, and I planted a lot of different varieties of evergreen structural plants around my patio. Before that, the most important thing, first year I did dump like 15 yards of soil, and I planted plants. Nothing did, it did not do anything. It just, the plants did not quite do much. So I researched about it. What is happening? Why the plants are not doing much even after 3 years? And my teachers explained to me the importance of arborist chips, and the soil that you buy can be sterile because they need to make it sterile to kill all the weed seeds which may present in it. So I found out that arborist chips is the answer. So arborist chips, what is arborist chips? When an arborist prune trees, they chip it in a machine and makes chips out of wood and the leaf. So when a tree is cut down, the same thing happens. The logs will be separated, but all the branches and the twigs and the leaves, when it is chipped, that is called arborist chips. It have all the organic matter in it. So when you dump a lot of chips into your garden and spread it and use it as mulch, that's all you need to do. So what I did is I dumped like 15 yards of arborist chips in my driveway, and I spread it in my garden, and then the next year I could see magic happening in my garden. My plants loved it. Everything started growing and thriving in my garden, and I stopped seeing weeds in my garden. So right now I'll go back to the evergreen structural plants. There I have camellia again. I have 3 camellias in the background. When you look at it, I have a pyrrhus there. There's an azalea which is blooming right now, and then 3 camellias and choicea, and rhododendron. That's a rhododendron. It's going to bloom next week or the following. And I have boxwood and pyrrhus again rhododendron, azalea, tassel fern, and again for flowering, winter plant, hellebore. And this is my Daphne, which blooms in winter, and it is so fragrant, as I have told you before. Choicea ternata, that's another structural plant, and I'm staying under full shade. Even though this is a south side, it's a magnolia tree. It sheds leaf in winter, but right now it's full shade, and all the plants are just thriving here. And right now I have hydrangea here, but that is again not structural. And I have right there you can see a choicea blooming. That's called choicea sundance. It's yellow. The yellow golden leafed choicea is called choicea sundance, and the green colored choicea, which I have showed there, is choicea ternata. And I have, you can see another 2 structural plants there, rhododendron, the purple rhododendrons. So what I have told you mainly is all this about structural plants, and I know that I have repeated so many plants, the same kind of plants like rhododendron and camellia and choicea and Daphne. I repeated that, but if you have noticed it, that's all I have in this garden. I just repeated all these plants all over in my garden. So when you buy plants, try to repeat your plants. It makes a huge difference rather than going and buying one rhododendron, one choicea, then one hydrangea, then one grass. That will look like a mishmash in your garden. That's why some gardens doesn't look good and it doesn't work. When you buy plants, buy it in 5s, 7s, 9s, 11s, you know, in odd number, and plant it as a swab. And it looks like it's flowing really well. That's the magic. That's all you need to do. If you have a choice, if you want to just choose between plants, just buy what really works in Pacific Northwest. I just told you all the plants which works magic in Pacific Northwest. Rhododendron works well, pyrrhus works well, nandina works well, choicea, camellia. It will thrive anywhere in the garden. Start with that and then keep adding other plants like these perennial grasses, Then what I have, okay, I have hebe, I have some flowering plants kept here, and any other flowering plants and sedums. All the other plants are the next step. You first year what you do is structural plants. Second year you can add perennials, maybe hydrangeas and sedums and other flowering plants. And third year you can, by then you will be an expert. You can start moving around plants. You can add peonies and dahlias and all the other stuff. That is as simple as that. And first thing, make sure arborist chips. So to get arborist chips, you have to go to chipdrop.com and order arborist chips. So in nature, what happens is nobody tills the soil. Nobody does anything. When you go for a woodland walk, do you see nature, somebody tilling the soil and turning the soil and putting more new soil and mulch there? You don't. Nothing happens there. Everything is taken care by itself. Every season, in fall, leaves fall down, and in winter, twigs and branches and sometimes trees fall down. All these things happens for a reason. The trees need to shed their leaf and feed the plants. They feed their own roots, and they act as a blanket. So when you, in fall, when you blow all the leaves, put the leaves in a bag and put it in your curb for the yard waste guys, utility guys to pick it up, you're doing a disservice to your garden and your trees and your plants and your flowering plants which gave you flowers. Keep it there. Blow it. If it falls on your patio, just blow it into your garden. Let it stay there. Let the leaves feed your plants. Don't buy any mulch. Buy arborist chips, which is the same thing. You're adding more green and brush and twigs, all these things for the soil. And the soil microbes, the microbes which present in the garden, needs all these leaves and twigs and chips, arborist chips. It needs that. That's what it eats. These microbes absorb all the good minerals from the soil and give it to the plants. Let it be fruits, vegetables or flowers. If it is fruits, those are the minerals that you're eating. So you need that arborist chips in your garden. Don't spend money on mulch. Arborist chips is the answer. Thank you.